Good morning. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. It's a pleasure being here and meeting a lot of people from the industry and meeting a lot of people for the first time. And also an honor to be moderating the first panel. So that puts a lot of pressure on us because we are basically going to get the ball rolling and basically set the tone probably for the next 3 days. And the first topic we've been given, and the topic is very interesting. When I was asked to moderate, I didn't even think twice. I said, okay, this topic is great. Promise of tech for good, creating solutions that benefit everyone. So I think, before we start sharing what we're going to speak about today, maybe I'll just get each of the panelists to just give a quick 30-second intro of themselves, and then we'll take it from there. Over to you, Ms. Arun.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Arun Kumar. I work as a senior director in digital transformation area for ARCKADL. I have my own consultancy firm in Dubai, which is AK IT Consultancies. I'm from India, Bangalore, about 20 to 25 years experience in the field of data center operations, voice over IP, and right now playing around with artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gillian Santos. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Anihan Technologies. We're an early-stage startup based in the Philippines. So we're a sensor and platform provider for farmers and wholesalers for crop quality management. So I've been around in the industry as a researcher for about 5 years before starting Anihan Technologies, or Anitech for short.
Hi, good morning to the crowd also from me. My name is Andreas. I'm from Germany. I'm tech investor at the moment. Done the startup journey myself. Founded an industrial IoT company. So I like tech. I like to enable with software. I like the laws of physics, and I also like to make an impact with it. So, good morning, everyone.
Yeah, hi. My name is Ravi Chidambaram. I'm the founder and CEO of RIMM Sustainability. We're an AI-driven data analytics company based in Singapore. We specialize in building ecosystems of data around ESG. My background is more on the banking side, but I've transitioned more into the sustainability side over the past 10 years as an investor. I'm currently a professor also in Singapore, teaching a sustainability class at a university there, and as the founder of RIMM. Nice to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Just a quick intro of myself. I'm the founder CEO of a company called Novem. It's a bespoke cybersecurity company. And I also sit as an executive chairman of a company that has been around for 32 years. We are literally pioneers in the security industry, and we also run a fairly successful private investigations company, so that gets everyone very excited. Okay, so let's just straight go in. Now, technology for centuries has both excited the human imagination and prompted fears about its effects. Okay, what was considered science fiction 20 years ago, today is reality and has become entwined with every facet of society now. I dare say, if you were to look up the definition of addiction in the dictionary, I think all of us here are addicts. We are all addicted to technology today. Some of us may be in denial, but that's a fact of life. You know, we have actually become addicted. And in my personal opinion, currently we are choking on technology. All right, left, right, and center, we are introduced to and seduced by new technology almost on a monthly basis. As for the optimists, I hope all of us here are optimists because we are all in a tech conference. For the optimists and the promoters of technology, we believe that advanced technologies benefit society and the economy, especially in accelerating growth and automating repetitive tasks and increasing efficiency. These are just some of the benefits of technology. Whereas for the pessimist, they worry about the potential harm that technologies such as AI, ChatGPT, will have on society in the long run, and its impact in the areas of job security, equal opportunities, privacy, trust, and limiting creative thinking. Someone just recently asked me whether I use ChatGPT. I mean, I jokingly just say that I'm not ready to outsource my brain yet. You know, so I think that's what the pessimists are worried about. Now we could argue about this, which side is right or wrong, and one thing I'm sure, I hope my fellow colleagues on the stage are on the same page. Technology is neither good or bad. It is the use to which it is put that makes a difference. So with that, let me throw the first question to all the panelists. What are some of the ways people from your industry, because I know I was speaking to all of you all come from diverse industries. Okay, so what are some of the ways people from your industry, or maybe even you or your organization specifically, are making a difference in creating a better future? So, Gillian, I'll let you go with that first.
Okay. Yeah, so...
And a minute each, sorry, just a minute each, quickly, and then we can just, 2 minutes, okay, I'll give you 2 minutes.
All right, so for our case in Anitech, our ultimate goal is actually to combat or reduce food loss. In the Philippines, more than 40% of crops actually get lost at each stage of the supply chain before it even gets into market shelves. Now, this is a huge problem because we're losing around 52 billion pesos, or around $2 billion every year. And apart from the lack of infrastructure, apart from the problem of having too many middlemen, it's actually food loss is brought about by the poor decisions and actions being made across the supply chain. So that's something that we can actually solve. So what we believe, our company believes that reducing food loss is cheaper than just increasing production. And it could be a key factor to improving food security and nutrition in our country. So what we intend to do is provide farmers and wholesalers with the right hardware, software, and actionable data that they need to reduce food loss. So for our hardware, we're building these IoT sensor systems that monitor key environmental conditions that affect crop quality and yield. And all of the data that is being gathered by the sensors gets sent onto our platform to be visualized. And not only that, our third key element is the actionable data. So not only do we just provide the platform, we actually talk to the farmers and wholesalers and give them reports and early warning alerts through SMS or email. So we have that high-touch relationship with every farmer or wholesaler that we interact with. So that's I guess, for us, the impact that we're trying to make. So we're not just giving them the technology, but we're actually helping them make use of the data that we're collecting at the farm and at the warehouse. So I guess I'll stop right there.
Thanks, Gillian. So so I think that what you're doing is what we speak about in Malaysia, bridging the rural divide, because I think technology doesn't make sense, or digital transformation doesn't make sense if it doesn't reach every sector of society. Mr. Arun?
Let me speak about two different projects I've been working on. One is in the field of network as a service, and another in the field of regularizing digital assets. So the first part, network as a service. So everybody knows that the network is the most important factor when you communicate between two different entities, like from headquarters to your branch office. One of the projects which I've been working on is related to this backbone. In the earlier days, we had MPLS networks, okay, which is more like a point-to-point circuit which has a very stringent quality of service requirement. Then it was expensive. Then we came to SD-WAN. SD-WAN was cheaper, but it used different technologies. So if you have an SD-WAN device, you can connect to the 5G network at one place. You can connect to the 4G network, and you can have a lease line. So you essentially divide these aspects into three different service providers. But the problem is you will not have a same quality of service. For example, if you want to communicate between your manufacturing unit in China and your headquarters in the US, the pipe, if you have a 100 MB pipe between these two entities, the network traffic is not smooth. Now, this particular area where I'm working on with Teridian, they have got probes in all the in all the WAN networks. So in AWS, in the Microsoft Azure network, and on different service providers, there are about 500 different probes. So what they do is they smooth out the traffic and choose the best path for your network within these entities. So if you are making a contract, you make a contract only with one service provider. For example, you do it with in US it may be AT&T, Verizon, or Cable and Wireless, and in Dubai you have a contract with Etisalat, for example. What happens in this case is you have a contract with only one entity, Teridian, and at the back end, everything is managed. The SLA what Teridian provides is 99.99% for your bandwidth. Over the internet, I think it's a huge and it's a game changer. So that's one aspect. Accessing your
30 seconds, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you can just finish it off. I don't know, 30 seconds. Yeah,
Yes, okay, sorry. Okay, so I'll speak more about that tomorrow, but let me speak about the 8081. So we have got some issues in the US laws about regulations about digital assets, so like for example cryptocurrencies. If you go to the website 8081.io, it speaks a lot about how they help in cryptocurrency trading and managing the profits and loss. So I'll stop right there and I'll continue later.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, excellent. Andreas, over to you.
Yeah, you see it's quite a few and diverse panel of different kind of industries. I have the chance to be one step above on a meta level because I'm investing in different kind of technologies. Just to give a few of examples, so 30% of the water is lost, of the drinking water is lost in the transmission networks. One of the companies I've invested in has an automatic meter which could get into the water network anywhere without extra power connection in order to prevent leaks, make leak detection, things like this. We've invested in a different company doing plasma catalysis, quite deep tech stuff, turning CO2 in a one single step process from CO2 to methanol, ethanol, and any kind of hydrocarbons in at least double of the efficiency that's today on the market. Just a few of examples that we like also to invest in topics with impact, and it's not because that we feel impact as a first belief, but if you want to change something, if you want to disrupt some industries, you need to make an impact, because the impact on the one hand gives you the impact on the financial side on the other side. So the one comes with the other. So and there's no need to invest in things that are not making impact for good, because there's a lot of things that make impact for good that gives much higher returns than the others. And it's much easier to sell, by the way, for the smaller companies.
And that's perfectly into the ESG man's head, and it's over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Muru. Yeah, as mentioned, RIMM is in the ESG analytics space, and we're really trying to disrupt that and revolutionize that. We believe in two key principles. One is equity, and the other is honesty. On the equity side, what we mean by that is right now, there's probably only ESG data on about 100,000 companies worldwide, but there are literally tens of millions of companies around the world. The reality, as you know today, in the modern world, where there's a huge level of interconnectedness in financial markets, in supplier markets, and so on, everything is around ecosystems. And one cannot achieve sustainable outcomes at the corporate level or project level without much more data on the ecosystem in which companies operate. Right now, we're in a top-down environment where only the large companies have disclosure, but many of their ESG claims are probably spurious because they don't know what's going on in their ecosystems. Conversely, many small companies are not prepared for the new world of sustainability, either on the compliance front or the strategic front, because they don't have tools to be able to map out their performance and improve and connect with larger entities. So that's the bridge that we're trying to fill at RIMM through different methodologies using technology, from auto-generated and auto-answered assessments to even predictive answers where we can archetype companies' performance and estimate risk. On the honesty side, as you know, this is an industry plagued by greenwashing today, because a lot of the ESG data that is actually in the public domain is often spurious, and again, many companies make claims which often are false. So again, we try to use AI tools to monitor accuracy of data and deliver a more honest perspective on companies. So what we're trying to do is massively increase the volume of ESG data in the market so that there are many more participants. And in fact, we give away a lot of tools for free to smaller companies to enable that. Or we also incorporate a lot of checks into the data so we have more fidelity in the data.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. So let me just jump in straight to the next, following from that. Now, in your personal opinion, what are the most common misconceptions about technology and how do you address it? Let me put that in context, because we often, I do speak in quite a number of forums. So the fear today is the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, it's very tech-centric. There seems to be a massive gap in the people, process, and governance part of it. And people tend to get very worried when you say you're going to automate everything and AI is coming in, because the minute you say that, the first question is, what about me? What happens to me? Do I even become relevant? Recently we had a first town hall session with our minister in Malaysia just 2 weeks ago. It was a cybersecurity town hall session. And he had mentioned that quite a number of big data centers have come into Malaysia recently to invest stuff. But he said the downside of it was that they're not actually employing many people. So, we come from an era of manufacturing where, you typically employ 10,000 people or 15,000 people in a multiple manufacturing plant. So how do you actually address this? How do you actually address the job gap, the people who feel that they are going to be replaced by robots, which is, in a way, true. It may not also be true. AI can just be complementing or maybe just removing repetitive tasks. But in your opinion, what do you face? Because you are industry leaders in your own field, and I'm sure you meet a lot of customers. How do you actually address it? How do you actually tell these people, no, tech is for good? So maybe Mr. Ravi, we'll start with you this time, and then we'll come this way.
Yes, of course. It depends on the application, I suppose, and certain industries, AI could in fact replace workforces. I could see that happening. I think in younger fields like my field, I really feel that AI is a force for good, because it allows us to draw insights into this world that right now is not possible just for teams of people alone, humans to process. I also feel that ESG is an evolving field where there's a really good harmony between man and machine, because there's a lot of research and it's a very interdisciplinary field. And it's a young field where more and more people are entering it, university degrees are being offered in it. So there's a lot of enthusiasm to learn more about the scientific aspects, the economic aspects of ESG. And then that really works well with big data sets and understanding data sets and giving people insights into their industries. So in a sense, I feel in my industry, it's working quite well. It's not disrupting the labor force. There's a complementarity. I can't speak for other industries, but of course I read about it, and I know that in many industries, clerical type industries, even many white collar fields like law, accounting, that AI could replace. Like in any new phase, like an industrial revolution or a tech revolution, there are usually some very tough growing pains and transitions. So I suspect it won't be any different here.
Andreas?
Yeah, I see disruption is making changes. And you can't actually overcome the idea that something will change. So in this case, it's the adaptation of the industry, and it also needs the adaptation of the people, that's for sure. And yes, there is a change for the labor. But you can't actually take the artificial intelligence and turn off the natural one. So please don't do that. In this case, it's more the matter of how to adapt and how to address. And it's in the responsibility of not just for the tech, also for the employers to find also the new fields where the people are. And it's good that you make jobs easier, more effective. And yes, that needs less workforce for this kind of application. But look, today, if you compare with like 10, 20, 30 years ago, it's so many more fields to work in that we have never thought of before. So just imagine looking forward, there will be much more things to do, many more jobs that you can't imagine. The only thing is, are you free enough from the mindset to go there and to lead this field? And to the fact it's not easy for the normal people. That I see is part of the politics and also part of the employers to go this path and also to keep this path with your people.
Thanks, Andreas. Just to digress a bit, since Andreas used the word mindset, I'm often quoted in the press in Malaysia, so I recently spoke, this is the reason you should never speak to reporters. So I actually said that digital transformation is mindset transformation, and we need to get rid of the legacy mindset. And the headlines the next day, this was literally the headlines, legacy people should be removed from the government. You know, so, so I'm very careful when I speak about mindset nowadays. Gillian.
Okay, yeah. So in the perspective of the Philippine agricultural sector, when companies ask us if we could integrate AI or automation, we actually say yes, but we're not ready for it. Actually, our country is not ready for it, even though a lot of companies say they want AI and automation. And primarily, it's also because of our local infrastructure. And a lot of it also has to do with our culture, the culture of how the way farmers farm and the way wholesalers store their food. If you want AI and automation, they think of it as this magic wand that, oh wow, all my problems will be solved. I could just leave my farm and it will do the rest. That's not really how it works. You still need to be able to quantify that data, act upon that data, and make the right decision on the ground every day, every hour of each day, right? So in order to get to AI and automation, you need to be able to do the monitoring and the decision support and the management system first. So that's where we started in Anitech. That's what we wanted to first tackle, that shift between, oh, okay, back then or even currently now, when farmers irrigate, it's like, okay, I think it's too hot now, maybe I should irrigate the field. No, what we want is to have, oh, okay, our sensor is reading it's more than 36 degrees, I have to irrigate, otherwise our plants will experience heat stress, and then the yield will be lower, and then I can't sell more. So that's the kind of mindset that we want to impart to farmers. And for wholesalers on their side, it's, oh, okay, the air quality is not good in my storage facility. I have to do something about it. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose 40% of my crops. Then I won't be able to sell, right? So before we even talk about AI and automation, we need to know what the data is imparting to the operations first. Then that's when we could integrate proper management practices. Then we can talk AI and automation. Well, I guess that's based on the perspective in the Philippines. I'm not sure about the rest of the world. But yeah, that's basically our thesis for Anitech.
Yep, it's pretty much the same in Malaysia. There's a lot of pushback whenever we speak about AI and in automation in the plantation sector, because we're probably the largest producers of palm oil together with Indonesia. And they'll be struggling to convince them to actually accept AI and automation. So I understand where you're getting from. And Mr. Arun, you could just...
I think technology should, when you use technology, it should be discretionary. So just because there is AI, don't go and use AI just because it's a buzzword or somebody says it's good for you. So analyze your own business and think what is good for you, okay? And then go for it. Okay, I've seen many organizations going down the automation path. Okay, and they find that they've been spending more after a year or two. They spend more of what they had spent a year back.
Yep.
Okay, so it should be highly discretionary. That's first thing. And the second thing about people getting afraid that AI will steal my job. this technology will stay. No, these are tools, okay? Just like you have a knife that can be used by different persons for different people for different purpose, okay? The AI is also a tool, okay? You should know how to use it, that's all, and to adapt it. Unemployment is a myth, in my opinion, okay? The way you adapt to technology defines how you stay employed, or how you stay active, or get more money in the future, okay? That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, how are we for time? Do we have another what? We okay for time? Okay. So maybe I can just get someone from the floor to ask any questions. Anyone who wants to ask the panelists, put them on the spot? Yep. 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 Okay.
In the next, let's say, 15, 20 years that it evolves. Should I say that again?
Yep. Okay.
So AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence. OpenAI said they're no longer doing any more GPT. They've evolved. What they mean is they've evolved into baby AGI. So AGI ultimately is AI that has the complete human intellectual access to knowledge. It can understand and debate, understand your arguments, probably outdo your arguments because it knows where you're going with those arguments. That is why all of the hearings are being held in the Senate, being held in America right now. The paper to stop AI, right, that Elon Musk and everyone is talking, has to do with AGI. So my question to the panel is, given your expertise in where you're going, I believe we'll have AGI by 2035. I believe we'll have it by 2025. So I believe that 90% of all white-collar jobs are going to be disrupted because ultimately capitalism is built on 2 simple things: disrupting markets, creating profits. If I can replace the proto-ape with one that I don't have to pay benefits to, that will work infinitely, right, and can do the analysis and everything else, how does society evolve from what we have? That's my question.
Should we get the professor to answer?
Well, that's a weighty question for sure. I'm afraid I don't have a full answer for you. Well, you know, I think it really will vary industry by industry, country by country. You know, I don't think the force of AGI will be felt uniformly everywhere. Let's take, you know, an advanced market like the US or Europe. I think what you're going to find is that in some industries it may help it because there are tremendous job shortages, you know, labor shortages, very hard to grow. Even in my own company, it's very difficult to hire data scientists and engineers and research people. And if I can have tech do it, then that's actually not a bad thing sometimes. But in many other industries, which rely on large labor forces where that gets disrupted, then yeah, it will be hugely disruptive. You know, I agree. I think some kind of regulation may be needed. I suppose in the ideal world, one would want humans to coexist with the technology and it becomes a productivity tool rather than a replacement tool. I don't know how that will play out, but you know, I think in let's say in lesser developed markets, I'm not sure how quickly AGI would be adopted, and I still think it will follow traditional labor market, you know, type conditions. But yeah, it's a difficult one. Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Maybe follow up of this, and thanks for let's looking in the glass ball for everybody. It's really hard, as you see from the answer from Ravi. I would actually go with you with the idea of 35. That's from the perspective of timing. One of my investments is also doing an AI-driven chip, doing ChatGPT-like models on a small wearable devices with less power than a Wi-Fi chip in your smartphone. So this tech will be available also on the edge. But what are the decisions that are taken? Decisions actually taken at the end also from people. And you speak about mainly software. And it's hard for me to believe, look outside as like 35, 36 degrees in Celsius, how AGI is cooling this room down to help us. So it's just part of the society, it's just part of the ecosystem. I hope it will more help than it will destroy. We'll definitely get some problems on the defense industry, that's for sure. I'm very, very sure on this. But I'm also very sure that we could use it as a helpful tool. And the decision to make and the decision to take, I'm not sure if the people would give away the power to machines. I can't believe this. It's very hard for me to believe. So everybody likes to be in control. And then it goes back to, it's the part of the tool for the people that are in power and that are in charge. And all the rest is looking in the glass ball.
Mr. Arun has been waiting.
Just wanted to give an opinion on the question. So, see, artificial intelligence is a learning model, okay, and what it learns is relevant now, okay, and time is always changing, okay, it's not constant, which means whatever artificial intelligence learned about 10 years back is not relevant now, okay. At least most of it will not be. Okay, the culture changes, the time changes. Okay, that's one aspect. That's where humans come into play. Okay, we adapt. Okay, second point is emotions. Artificial intelligence doesn't have emotions. All right, when you make decisions, when you have data in front of you, you still make decisions based on your emotions and your gut feeling, which artificial intelligence cannot do. Okay, one example I would like to state here. The launch of Pulsar motorcycle in India, if you look at the history of how it was launched, okay, there were, so Bajaj, the company behind the motorcycle, hired a consultancy firm. They took out all the data analytics, they looked at all the research data and said, this motorcycle will not work in the Indian market because there is already so much competition from Hero Honda, from others, Yamaha, for example. But I think it was Rahul Bajaj who made the decision, even though the data said it was not working. He went by his gut and he said, I'm going to launch this because I know it will work. That decision-making capability cannot be done by an AI because AI is a tool which we humans built it. Okay, we are the masters of AI. AI is not our master, and it will never be. Thank you.
Thanks. Do you really want to add anything quickly?
Yeah, I don't have a full answer, but I do see AGI as a productive tool as well. Well, in the Philippines, we don't even have a large enough data set to integrate AI in, let's say, doing a post-harvest loss information system or even a basic farm registry system. So, but once we get to that level, rather than having face-to-face agronomists on the call going to the farm, I would love to see a future for my country where, okay, the farmer's just going to call up and then just ask for the data analysis and then start tilling and doing the input management and fertilizer management and pesticide management. Or, I would, farmers in the Philippines, most of them also don't have smartphones as well. So we still have that huge gap to fill, not just by the private sector, but also the public sector in order to integrate AI and automation and future innovations as well.
Thanks, Gillian. That brings us something that's been stuck to my head for the last more than 12 months. I heard it over the radio while I was driving on to work one day, and there was this thought leader who was speaking. I can't remember the name, but she actually made a very interesting statement. She said, climate governance ESG, digital transformation, AI, none of this will actually have far-reaching and holistic impact on society until poverty is eradicated. And I think that was very meaningful. So if all this technology doesn't eradicate poverty, does not reach the common man, I think it's probably is going to just be a tool. It's going to just affect one sector of society. But at the end of the day, I think it's people. People are going to make the decisions. People are going to, and I like the word gut instinct. I make a lot of decisions based on my gut instinct. My wife doesn't like it, but I've been correct so far. So far I've got away with it. So I think that's where it's still about the people. It's still about people. It's still about how we decide and how things change, how things evolve. We may be talking about something else completely different 3 years from today. So I think that's what I can say. Maybe we can just take one more question, and then let's just do the closing. And anyone else?
Right here.
Oh, okay.
You are sitting against the light, so you can't see me.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So my question to the panel is actually about taking a cue from what you just said about eradicating poverty and what our colleague over here said about AI taking jobs away. I work for a social impact organization in India. We employ close to about 4,000 people in small towns, impacting close to 20,000 lives, I would say. I'm very happy to be doing it. The question to the panel would be, since we're talking the topic of tech for good, what are your thoughts about the usage of technology for generating employment? We've been hearing a lot of talk about AI taking away employment. What are your thoughts about generating employment?
Anyone else? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll take that question. So I think it's relevant to me because when I was born in a joint family. My family lived in a mud house in a small town called Bhadravati in India. Okay, it's in South India, Karnataka state. Okay, so the main thing there is when you want to eradicate poverty, first thing is you should have the mindset. The person who wants to move away from poverty, he has to have a mindset of learning new skills. Okay, that's one of the main thing. Right now, if you look at the elections and the manifesto of the current government in Karnataka, you see that they're giving away freebies. Okay, I didn't get any freebies. I had to work my way up through a small town to be sitting here in Dubai in this panel. Okay, it took a lot of effort. It took a lot of energy. And it took a lot of money to learn new skills. And I put money to learn new skills. Okay, so I did my engineering, and I decided to do my engineering when I was in the 7th standard, when I first touched my keyboard. Okay, so that mindset of having to learn new things. Okay, that's going to take you places, and you'll find many more examples like me throughout the world. Okay, people who have grown from take Infosys, for example. Mr. Narayan Murthy was a middle-class person, right? Now look where he is. So if you're able to, if you want to get out of the poverty mindset, learn the new skills, okay? If you can't learn how to use it. Both are important. If you want to learn the new skills, sometimes it's not financially viable, okay? But if you know how to use it, okay, but that will take you places. For example, even AI. Right now, the people who are who know how to use AI, they're going to make big strides. And I'm also a learner in AI. I never knew AI in the last 2 years. So in the before the last 2 years, I mean. But I've been learning. I've been adapting. So learn, adapt. That's the first step of eradicating poverty. Okay, and the government has schemes. For example, the government of India, they have certain schemes for skill up nations and all, right? So take advantage of those things. Start small and then start growing your circle. Thank you.
Gillian?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's all about mindset. So for example, if let's say the government gives farmers subsidies, they usually have this short-term thinking, like, oh, okay, short-term gain, I have this money, I'm gonna spend it somewhere else, instead of actually spending it on the right fertilizer, the right pesticides, the right type of inputs. So just by shifting that type of mindset, you can actually really have a great impact towards what you're doing at the farm, you know, having that right yield that you could sell to the wholesaler or to retailers. So I guess if you really want to eradicate poverty, it's the way you really think about how to improve what you already have. For example, we're actually coming up with this proposal for this foundation called CODESPA, and you know, as much as they would love to give us a big budget, they said, okay, what can you do with 3,000 euros? I'm like, oh, okay. Well, not that much. Let's just let's just go with the basics. Okay, what do you have so far? Do you have any sensors on the field? They said none. Okay, so I guess for the type of farm that you need, it's essential to have your temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide monitoring, your soil moisture, your soil temperature. Maybe let's work with that, and then let's see how it goes. Because for any type of open farm or greenhouse farm, you'd still need to irrigate. What matters is we need to change that mindset. Okay. If you're irrigating at random times or irrigating too much or too little, we have to change that. We have to change that mindset. Oh, okay, I'll just get subsidies from the government, use it however I want, and then I'll just make up for it at the last few days before harvest. So that, I guess, for us would be the best way, you know, through these types of technologies. Even though it's not so high-tech, we implement the right type of technology and create that problem-solution fit, get these farmers and wholesalers to get used to it, and then shift on and create another disruptive technology or implement different types of practices for them.
Thanks, Gillian. Andreas?
Yeah, I would like to give you a big piece of hope, to be honest. So I'm also investing with a good friend of mine for 20 years. I'm with him in the third wave of AI, and there will be more to come. And what we've seen for the last decades, and you will see the same kind of development in the future, is that cellular connectivity, software, intelligent devices will be everywhere. And what AI brings is, it, on the one hand, like internet brings information and connectivity from the few to the many. And AI also gives like predefined decision and gives you knowledge from the few to the many. So in this case, like Jill is a perfect example. There's a huge kind of farming industry in the developed world, and they can do a lot with technology, and they know how to farm. Think of the farmers in rural Africa or in Southeast Asia. The next decades will be very hard for them to come. On the other side, there's information how to treat with this, how to make it happen, how to still make it happen, and to predict that you can make it happen, and not just give up and leave the country, leave the site. So in this case, this AI gives you the decision and gives you the opportunity to get information and knowledge to the people that don't have access to this now. And if you use this, and it's more the problem of how actually is the business model for the people of the having this information to also to give it to the many, to give it to a fair price, whatever that means. If it scales in numbers, it's good. But this is a piece of hope I would give you. In general purpose, it gives the information and knowledge in predefined decisions that are much better than they would maybe take on their own.
Ravi, 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think Andreas had mentioned it earlier. You know, there are many new professions that didn't exist, 20 years ago. And I think so it will be with AI. I think there'll be a lot of new opportunities for people to work alongside AI in new and disruptive fields. But to do that, I think governments have to invest in primary education. I think you have to start, very young. I'm in the education field, and as I said, I see huge appetite for new areas like ESG. Really, my workforce demographic is primarily 25, 26-year-old university graduates. These are the people who have passion and interest in this field. And I think that if you apply that to tech, it's like foreign languages. I think young people will learn the fastest. And we've seen this before, right? There are a lot of interesting thought experiments done even with rural children in India and tech and how fast they pick it up. So I know it can be done. And I think that's where you have to start. So you talked about Malaysia, Philippines not being prepared for the digital revolution. Malaysia and Philippines, unfortunately, don't have the best track record in primary school education. And I think so it is in other places too. And that's a failing of public policy that has to be addressed. So I think, you know, a well-prepared student can seize opportunities going forward. And that's a very important pathway to poverty alleviation, job creation, and so on.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. I think that's an excellent point. He brought up the fact that before we even talk about technology, we have to talk about basic education. And I think there's a lot of mindset change needed there too. And he's right, you know, and it has to start from the primary level. And I keep insisting to my government that we need to start teaching people ethical social media, how to use social media ethically from schools, and tell them, you know, what is the danger of maybe forwarding a picture of your friend, not being in the best position, and then it was sort of like humiliating him because of this silly act of negligence. You know, so stuff like that. I think it has to be taught, and I think the education system has to change first before we can even come and talk about technology and talk about, you know, how technology is going to do it. So I think we're just nice for time. Let me just, you know, any parting words from anyone? You want to say anything? Okay, so let me just close. I hope this session was useful. I just want to close by saying that at the end of the day, it's about people. It's about us. I was very miserable during COVID because, you know, I need to meet people. I need to talk to people. I need to see people. You know, I need to understand. You know, when there's online meetings till today, I can never get used to it. You know, so I think it's all about people. It's all about emotions. It's all about how we look at how we can help each other. And tech is just a tool at the end of the day. You know, so it's nice. It's fun to have. But at the end of the day, it's also good because tech is what brought all 5 of us together. It's the first time we were all meeting. So everything was done online. Today we have 5 people here from, you know, he's from Singapore, he's from Germany, she's from Philippines, he's from India, I'm from Malaysia. And we're sitting here together speaking as friends and, you know, all because of tech. 30 years ago, it might not have been possible. We'd probably be still, you know, writing letters and trying to communicate with each other and coordinate each other. So it's good. Whether it's good or bad, it all depends on us, how we use it. So I think, I hope you all had a good session, and thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for giving the opportunity.